Hello and welcome to the Milford Finance Committee, Wednesday, April 12th, 2017. First item on the agenda is the approval of the March 8th, 17 minutes. There was a revision on that by Mr. DeVita, so I hope all of you read the revision. So with the changes being made, does anyone have
So
a
moved.
motion?
Second.
Second. Any discussion?
Who seconded?
Mike.
All right, all those in favor? Unanimous. All right, next item on the agenda is the transportation from the MWRTA. We have more updated numbers. If you go on the drive and go on to MWRTA, and then there's another folder in there that says today's date, April 12th, that has the most updated ridership numbers in there. You'll see there's about 6 or 7 documents in there. Each of them, yeah,
Under what folder is it?
Finance Committee,
Finance Committee, yeah.
MWRTA,
Okay.
and then there should be a folder called April 12th there that has the most updated number. The other ones are older numbers. So you'll see there's about 6 or 7 documents in there, each of them for either pickups, drop-offs, and then there's one in there that says complete ridership spreadsheet. And that's gonna give you the most 30,000-foot view, basically just the numbers for each month, okay, all the way up till April 5th, okay?
He said something different.
Yep. All right, before we have some of the members from the Transportation Committee come up, as we've had in the last couple of meetings when we talked about the bus, I wanted someone to come in because I'm a big proponent of the numbers not telling the whole story about the bus, that there's a people element to it that I think is extremely important, so. I wanted Lexi old habit, sorry, but Lexi Forget, come up and just talk to us for a few minutes about her thoughts on the bus route.
What do these numbers mean?
Mr. Chairman, for the record, I am related to the speaker.
I think I let that slip.
How are you related?
Period of time.
Just for
Hey,
the
come up
record.
and sit up
I
in the
know the
seats in the
mailman.
front.
You number one?
Right.
Oh, okay.
We
That's
can all
not.
attest to that.
Okay.
So with me, I have Brett Crosby and
She's
Rhonda
related to his
Crosby.
wife, not him.
I am a special education teacher at Milford High School in the pre-vocational program. And we use this bus often for travel training for both the pre-vocational and vocational program. I'll speak a little more to that in a minute, but I wanted to have Brett, who is a graduate of the vocational program and utilizes the bus, speak.
Could Brett introduce himself?
My name is Brett.
There you go.
You can hold it if you want.
Oh, it's not gonna go loud,
Oh,
it's just for the
okay.
TV.
Okay. My name is Brett. I'm 22 years old. I am here tonight to speak to you about the new bus in town. The bus has made a difference in my life by making me more independent. I use it every day to get from my job at Big Y and Town Hall to the high school where I coach and work security at athletic events. Without the bus, I could not get to my activities, and I would be missed by people who depend on me. I want to be there for them. My quality of life is better because of the bus. There are more adults that need this, and we would like you to consider us when you decide on the funding.
Thank you so very much, Brett. Brett, let me ask you a question. How many days a week do you ride the bus? Do you ride it every day?
No, not every day.
Yep.
How many days do you have?
3 days.
3 days a week?
Yeah.
Great. Every week?
Yes.
What time, sir?
He rides it Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. Mondays and Tuesdays, he gets the 12:30 bus over at the quarry that takes him to the high school where he does his after-school activities. On Wednesdays, he picks it up here, takes it to the high school where he does his afternoon activities. I just have to say, this is the best. As Brett's mom, who has just seen him flourish, he was actually the first student of the vocational program who did the transportation planning, travel planning. And he and Nate Gauscher took the bus, got the Charlie card. Brett's been riding it ever since. It's his best secure place to be independent. I don't have to worry, nor do I have to get out of work. This is so great for everybody that it's just a big responsibility that's been lifted for Brett, because he can get on it and ride it. And he texts me, and they made it. He had left his wallet on it one day. He called the transportations in Framingham. The driver came, met him outside the high school, and gave him his wallet back. This is like stories that people don't know about. Like, numbers don't tell you what it does for these kids. Like Lexi, I share it. I speak for Brett because I'm his mom.
And it used to be the mom regional transport.
I am, and let me tell
So
you,
it's switched
I
over.
am so excited with Jen, and I'm a current member of the Commission on Disability. I want this thing to just succeed for everybody, for all these young adults coming in, where their parents don't have to transport them it's different when they're young, but when they're older, it's tough.
And they want the independence.
And they need the
And
independence.
one of the reasons we do it so much with the pre-voc and voc is there are many kids in our program that cannot get licenses. Even if they were capable, because of different medical issues, whether it's seizures or anything like that, they are not able to ever get a license. So they will constantly be dependent on someone getting them a ride, or they can't have a job if it's not in walking distance. And Milford isn't really a walking town. So providing them with the ability to be able to get places through something like the bus is huge, because they can pick it up. There are so many stops now throughout that even if they have to walk a little bit to a stop, it gives them the ability to go around. We also have been doing travel training to have the students realize that this is a good way to get exercise. They can get it to the trail, the bike trail. They can go to town park. They can go to the library now. And with kids with disabilities, having activities and having things other than Special Olympics, but just ways to be physically fit, where that is a big issue often, is huge. So the bus has been awesome for our students to learn all different things, from following just how a route works to being able to get to the grocery store.
And actually being able to live outside Milford. I think our dream for Brett is for him to be independent enough to go to Framingham, get off it, go to another job. I mean, just live life independently without having to go, Mom, can you drive me? Or me going, oh.
Or having
It's
to pay the
just-
cost of an Uber, which is
Right.
astronomical, because a lot of these kids are gonna work in jobs that aren't gonna make enough, where they would be paying $15 and they're only making $30 in their shift. So it's not even feasible for them to go to work at that point.
Mr. Chair. How many kids in your program, Lex?
In my class, well, in our program, between pre-voc and voc, we have over 25. Almost 30. So, right now, we've been splitting it up into two groups when we go, so that because we fill the bus with 16 of us. So, we'll go, a group of us on this day, then the next week another group will go.
So out of the 30 kids, how many kids independently ride the bus?
Right now, most of the kids in my program are under 18 years old, so I've only heard of one or two riding it independently right now, as they are so young. I know kids from the vocational program have been using it independently or more independently. I know one of my students has been teaching his mom to use it, so that they can get a ride, because it stops right in the Colonial apartments, and she doesn't drive, so that was an awesome thing to hear, that they are now going to be using that. But they are very young and still learning, which is why travel training is super important for us to go over it, have them stop at all different stops throughout it. Like, we've stopped at Stop and Shop, we've stopped at Big Y, we've stopped at Town Park, what?
Papagenos for lunch.
Papagenos for lunch, can't forget Papagenos. And I do have some pictures of all of the students who have been taking it in the program and utilizing it. We are gonna be going to Framingham, to the main hub, to get them their own cards, not just Charlie cards, but cards, the disabled cards, so that they will be able to ride at the reduced rate and be able to make it even more affordable for them as they go forward. And MWRTA has been awesome working with us and really making it possible for these kids to be independent and have this experience.
Alberto?
Rhonda, you mentioned that it is a very large help for you. Can you give us an idea, pre-bus, so a year ago when there was no bus versus now with bus? What are the differences in your life that the bus has made?
Where do I start? When your child with a disability is a child, you have the district who transports them back and forth all the time. You don't have to worry. You put them on the van in the morning, and they get off the van at 3 o'clock. All of a sudden, he turned 22 in October, and I had 22 years to do what I did. And then all of a sudden, I had 1 year to figure out, oh my gosh, he's totally my responsibility now. Single mom, doing it, not a problem. It's a struggle. I actually had to leave my job in Marlboro and come and work in Milford because I had to be close for him when he turned 22. And it was to the point where I don't have to now. I mean, I can work and he's independent and I don't have to worry because the bus is on time, we have the schedule, we have it, on the refrigerator, upstairs, in his backpack. He knows exactly where all of them are. My life has just improved, like, I don't have to leave work anymore. I can focus on like what I need to do and be okay with him because he's out there and he's safe. He's not in an Uber where I don't know what's gonna happen.
And he's also proud of what he's
And
doing.
he's very proud. He's very proud.
He's proud of being independent, of showing up, of
So-
being able
so
to get
forth is
places
really-
on his own. Because no 22-year-old or 18-year-old wants to have to always rely on someone. And there are some people who don't have intellectual disabilities, who may just have a vision impairment, who, something like this, where they wanna be like every other person, and they can't drive, so they have to call, hey, Dad, can you give me a ride to work? Hey, Dad, I got off early, can you pick me up? Things like that, where having the bus, they say, okay, I'll catch the next bus and I'll be home, or I can meet you here. And they don't necessarily have to rely on their parents. It allows them independence that they could get in some larger communities, and the fact that Milford has it here is incredible, and it really is such an asset to this, not just the disabled population, but to everyone that needs to get around that doesn't have the means to do it.
Absolutely. Anybody else, questions?
Good.
Well, I really wanted to thank you for coming in, and I know when we had talked, and before we've had any discussions on the bus, I've always had one of these discussions, because, not to go over it again, but to me, this doesn't show up on spreadsheets. This is real people's lives that we're helping. And we may never take the bus, any of the 14 of us, but there's a heck of a lot of people who just need it. 15? Well, I wasn't, yeah. 15.
Get your numbers right, you're on the
I
finance
wasn't
committee.
counting my. This is like a true story right here, and I think it's important that we think about that. So I want to thank you so much for coming in. Appreciate it.
Yeah. having
That's all
us.
we
Thank you
wanted,
for
is put a
listening.
face to it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now we have the Transportation Committee, of which Mike Soers is our liaison. So if any of you have been looking at the numbers, you've seen some of the trending on it that I think Scott's going to cover. And if you have any questions on any of that stuff, and there, obviously Scott being the chair of that committee. Yep.
Okay. Not to cut anybody short, but what's our objective here with this tonight?
We're going to make a decision, I think, on whether we're going to
Whether
leave.
we're gonna support the continuation of the service?
Yep.
Okay,
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, we're gonna make that decision when?
I'd like to make that decision at this meeting, or have someone make a motion for that, because this is something that we need to get decided. Because this is right from our cherry sheet funding, and right now, with our budget, tighten it up. If anyone's been looking at the different budgets, things are tightening up. And I think that making this decision now makes it a lot clearer for making decisions than any of the other budgets. Also, another thing that's important to know is that we lost the grant for this as well.
We did.
Okay? The $50,000 Chennai grant that we had for this, we did not get this year.
75.
75.
Yeah, 75.
So they're,
And the 50,
not renewing
the
this?
50, actually, I flipped on, $50,000 grant was given to the police station for the opioid crisis. That's where the Chennai grant was, 50,000. So we didn't get our grant, yep, and now they didn't give us both, so the grant they gave us was the opioid grant. So the grant for the bus is gone.
Mr. Chairman, did they say why they did not give us the grant for, is it either or, was there
I
some
think
reason,
it-
was there some rationale?
No, I think it was just kind of they picked one, from what I've heard. So that's certainly something that we need to consider as well, because,
So will we have the actual dollar numbers to go over then?
we do have, it's 250,000 with the 125 being covered by the MWRTA. So the cost of the town is 125,000.
That's changed since today.
Scott, is that correct?
Say that again?
It's 125,000 would be the cost of the town.
What's, for review's sake, clarification, right now, we have invested 50,000 for the first year.
Yep, that is correct, but after they cover their portion, after the Chenal grant of the
Our
75.
net in it is 50 grand for the first year.
For the year that was
And I
going
understand
on.
it goes through August 28th.
Yep,
Okay, and the other thing I learned today, and I think it would be very helpful if everyone understand it, we can cut bait at any time on this project.
yep, we absolutely
And I
can.
don't think I know I did not understand that.
Yep,
If we get to a point that for some reason, unbeknownst to us, that it's not being ridden, it's not being done, all we do is say, we're all done, ante up and go home.
that's when we had.
We're not into, and we have to make a commitment to fund it in this year for 125,000.
Yep.
And I actually thought it was 75. 2 hours ago, someone told me it was 75. But, and I don't know why, but I'm not quibbling with the numbers. Okay? I'm only a little bit concerned, and only a very minor bit, as the commitment. Now I learned today that we don't have to sign up for another year. We only have to budget for another year in this budget cycle.
Well, technically, I just want to, before we go on about the budgeting, we're not budgeting anything, because this is money that comes directly off the cherry sheet. So this isn't going to be a money that we need to allocate. It's money that's taken off by the state before it comes to us. Okay, so there's no budgeting by us.
And you don't get it back.
Yep.
You don't get it back. Meaning, in other words, if we go beyond into the
No, no,
next,
it-
the whole year.
No, the funding is, from the state, is on an annual basis, and it's an assessment that comes off the cherry sheet,
Like mosquito spraying, it's the same.
whatever it
It's
is.
the same thing.
Or like,
so we get halfway through the cycle, we decide we don't want to continue anymore, they're not going to give us 50% of the money back.
I can't imagine they would.
you can write them a letter, Jerry, and see
Yeah,
how
I
it
was gonna
goes.
say, I'm sure there's an appeal process, but I can tell you the response rate's
I
I
pretty
don't think the
low.
governor's gonna say, wait a minute, Milford needs
I'm not-
75K back, we'll
I
give
don't
it
think,
to
I don't intend to do that, I don't think that's funny, but one of the things that always concerns me with getting into government projects like this is there's no ever getting off the merry-go-round. We just keep going and going, no matter whether the project works, whether it quits working, or whether we just keep letting it hang on. And I want there to be an understanding that we don't have to do that.
Yep.
And if we want to get off, we can get off this ride. If ridership drops to 0 in the month of August, I don't want you coming down here and saying, we're going to continue this, because if it's not going to work, it's not going to work.
Can I let Scott do his thing before,
Well,
because
I
he
don't
may, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Jerry,
I'm
but
not opposed to it. I'm not sure we couldn't just go on and move this issue right now.
yeah, I want to get to Scott. We made him come in here, so Scott, can you?
Well, first, we're just a transportation advisory committee, so whether I like the bus or don't like the bus, doesn't matter. So I just know what our job is. So, anyways, I know I sent this packet out. We should all have it, I guess.
It's all on the drive under the MWRTA.
Basically, first sheet I have is the route. That's the route existing right now, as of today. They've added a library, we've made some changes with other stops, and that's where we're at. On the actual ridership numbers per month, obviously you'll see there's pretty much a steady increase for the most part. We had some drop-offs, February, snowstorms, weather. They actually canceled one whole day of riders, so. March I expected to be a little higher. It actually didn't turn out as high as we thought, but it's been the highest month so far. So there's been basically a steady increase from day one.
Scott, this says passengers.
Right.
Is that what actual,
These are people getting on and off the bus.
okay,
Every single person gets on and off the bus, counted by the bus driver,
okay, it's person, it's not
person.
one person getting on and off, on and off, on and off, on
No.
and off.
Well.
No.
Every person that gets on the bus, well, every person gets on has to get
You may
off.
count the same person
Rides,
twice.
not rider.
That's-
If he takes it
It's
to the
rides.
hospital, gets
Well,
off.
that was my
he's
question.
on.
Trips,
No one is counted, so he gets counted
Mr.
twice.
Chairman.
Riders.
Get on the bus, you're counted. You get off the bus, you're
Gentlemen.
counted as getting off.
Wait.
Can we- Hey, guys,
Clarify
stop,
this,
stop for a
please.
second.
Excuse me.
The way we do it, the committee does, is we count every single person gets on that bus. Whether they've been on 5 times, there's still 5 riders. They paid
correct.
5 times to get on
Do they
that
pay
bus.
every time they get on?
And that's what they've always,
Oh,
guys,
That's it.
that's what they've always said, is it's ridership. If you go to make 3 stops, you're gonna get counted 3 times. If you go to work and you come back, it counts you twice. These are rides, so passengers, maybe we could just substitute for the word rides.
It should be.
I
Okay,
think it's hard to separate the two because you have cash paying riders also.
that's correct.
So the only difference is, and we've had some difference in numbers every month, and we came to the bottom of it, was transfers. You have transfers that come from Holliston that do not pay to get back on the bus. So they're counted just as a rider, but they're not paying. But we still count them as a rider, because they are a rider. Going the opposite way to get on the bus in Milford, they're paying to get on the bus, and then the next stop is a transfer for them, so.
I also don't care if they pay, because I don't get the money
Yeah,
anyway.
it's all irrelevant, it is. So, but these are actual riders getting on the bus, and obviously getting off.
Does everyone see these numbers on the Route 14?
One of them's Charlie.
So you guys are seeing that there is certainly a trend here. And I will say, I don't think we've been the most aggressive about marketing this, but I think we can work on that. But with, I think, very limited marketing, I think you're seeing here that the trend of the bus is increasing. And we always knew this was gonna be a slow process, People don't know where the bus goes still. There are some people who say to me, I don't even know where it goes. Well, it's been going for 9 months, and they know a lot of stuff about what goes on in the town, and they still don't know where the bus is. So I think we're still in the new, in the,
It's growing, it's
yeah,
definitely growing.
in the beginning process, so, Jeff.
Mr. Chairman, I appreciate Brett and company coming in. That was a great presentation. And we certainly take the human factor to this, but, I'm looking at a spreadsheet from last year from the commission that said low ridership, 36,000, high, 73,000. If we trend this, we're at 10,000. That's $25 per ride.
There's no question.
We're at $6. That's a lot. One of the questions that we asked last year, I know, was there an alternative plan versus a MWA to cover the people that are actually gonna use it? Is there something like the special needs people can use? Is there any, I don't think we've seen any of that, and I don't know if any kind of study's been done on that for an alternative.
Not from us, no.
Yep.
Jeff, can you go over those numbers again? How did you, just the math, I wanna be sure.
So this came from the commission
Yeah, that
report,
was last
right?
year.
That was
That's
last
what I
year,
saw.
so based on all, from senior center and Milford Housing and all.
okay.
So it's 36,000 was the low number, 73,000 was the high.
So if you take the
So
10,000 and divide it.
I took it, I said, based on the ridership, I did 1,000 a month,
Yeah.
10,000
Yeah,
for a year.
Yeah.
Into 250,000, which that's the cost of it. I forget who's paying for
Yeah.
it. That's $25 a ride.
okay, I just wanna make sure I understood. Okay.
$25 a ride.
I'm not sure, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it matters if it's $25 a ride or $3 a ride. It's 30,000 riders we want to see. And
Well,
we
I think
want- We
I-
want it to be utilized, and it's not being utilized.
I went back and watched that meeting, and I know that when Harold gave us that number of 30,000, 15 people laughed. They said there's no way that that's gonna happen. So we knew at that time that 30,000 was never happening. Or at least I believe that, and I
At
think
least not in the first year.
people's reaction showed that, so.
But part two to that question is, we never saw like a P&L from MWRTA. Was the pricing 250,000 based on a ridership of $30,000 with 30,000 with fares coming in based on a ridership of 30,000? Is that 250 gonna change based on a low ridership? To me, doing a business case, it's absolutely gonna go up.
Now, right now, it's 125,000 too, so, and if we do 1,000 people a month, that's 12,000 rides, we're down to $10 a ride, which still is astronomical, I agree. But still, let's talk what it really is, it's really $10 a ride versus 25.
What it's costing the town, but I mean, what the
No.
actual cost of the ride is.
There's no question, I agree with you, so, Alberto?
Couple things. One, Jerry, I don't agree with you that we can bail out at any time. Legally, we can. But you just heard, there's families counting on this service and building their lives around it.
Misunderstood,
So-
I'm sorry. If the ridership drops to 0, which it could at certain times, and it becomes an issue, we are not in a contract long-term.
That's
That's all that's the only point I wanted to make.
And you're
I-
exactly right on that, Jerry.
And with all due respect, I'd like to finish. you mentioned that have the option of bailing out if the ridership drops to zero. I don't ever see it dropping to zero. The 30, 60,000 number, you're right, Jeff, I mean, seriously. But the real issue I have is we're voting for it for a year. You know, and I like going now to show our intent, because if we really intended to not fund it, this gives people 3, 4 months to try and move their lives around, because we will affect people's lives. Number two, I don't believe it'll ever drop to zero. I don't know that it'll be 70,000. But the thing I'd be looking for is what are the alternatives? Because we always talked about a Milford Uber, you know, that, you know, if it costs us 10, 12 bucks a ride, you could pick up the phone and I don't know what an Uber would be, but it'd be 4 or 5 bucks. So realistically, you got an option of asking Ms. Trotter, Clark, sorry, Sue, I just, too old, to put another van at the senior center, funding Uber inside of there's options. What I'm not comfortable is repeal without replace. You know, nobody's come forward yet and said, here's a study. What I'm hearing you say is,
Donald, we'll call you Donald.
yeah, there you go.
Sorry, yeah.
I don't see an alternative saying, if the senior center was given 2 vans and 2 people and a dog and a cat and a sheep, this would work better. I'd feel more comfortable. Today, I'm kind of feeling like whatever the numbers are, there's no alternative except shutting it off, and after listening to how it affects people's lives, I'm not comfortable shutting it off. You know, if somebody came and said, Sue, with 2 vans and 3 people, could do it better, and here's the study, then I think we'd have to look at it. Or we're gonna fund $5 an Uber ride inside of, we'd have to look at it. Because obviously now, I know my mother's used the senior center van, and I think it's a whopping $1 or something, some silly little nominal fee for her to run around. So that's my only issue is, if somebody has a better alternative, I'd like to see him come forward, because it's easy to tell you, you're not good enough. Well, what's the other alternative? I don't know, but do better.
Mr. Chairman.
Aldo first.
I think what we need to do is get beyond the semantics of this and decide what it is it was intended to do. And I think we did a terrible job, the collective we, of letting people know it's out there. I thought initially that the transportation people themselves were going to go out on an advertising and draw people in. Haven't seen any of that. They're the ones that, whatever, if it's $10,000, $20,000, $100,000 in fares, they keep that. They keep that. It's in their best interest to sell this program to the community, because the more they sell, the more they get. Now, I think, in my mind, I need to see 1 year, not a bifurcated year, 1 full year, 1 full fiscal year, July 1 of this year through June 30 of next year. Then evaluate what the process is. Is it doing what we want it to do? Haven't seen a business plan, don't know what it's supposed to do other than pick up people. But that's what you do with buses, I guess. But the fact of the matter is, I haven't seen anyone out there, other than Harold, you know, God bless Harold, he was out there promoting. And I haven't seen one bit of information out there that tells people they have this particular service available to them. In my mind, I believe we owe it to ourselves, we owe it to the town meeting, and certainly to the citizens of the community that we put it together for 1 full year beginning 1 July. But we need to have a program out there that informs people that it's going to be out there. It's great when these young people that need the transportation have it available to them. But we're looking at the whole community, and we're supposed to be doing this in an objective way. I mean, we're supposedly the finance committee, so you consider the good and the bad.
For
That's what
15
we
years,
do.
he doesn't know what we do yet.
But, I mean, that's what it is. You know, right now, in my mind, I'm going to support another year, and I'd like to see it go from fiscal July 1 through June 30. And then, as we get to this point next year, now I think we can make an educated decision. Remember, once you try to pull it away, it's gonna be an impossible task. So we'd better be sure that, number one, we want it to continue, or number two, that we can no longer make it viable. Let's do another year of it.
Bobby?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd just like to harken back as to what my esteemed colleague, Mr. Carrera, stated, and that is that there is a defined need out there. There's no question about it. And I have stated for the record many times, and this is just a gut feeling, feel that we have not maximized efficiency on this. And that's why I've been beating the drum for stops and starts by time of day and by location. And I think we have that now. I just received this tonight, and I guess it's on the drive, Chris. The other thing that's concerning to me is the cost of the program. Is the cost of the program just a fixed cost, or is it predicated on the size of the route? As you know, originally, with the original cost, that route was 5 times the size that it is now. We've compressed that route, and you guys have adjusted it accordingly. So why is the cost the same? Are we gonna continue that bus riding around town more frequently, empty? And there are periods in here where you can see the bus is empty. So I am gonna support this for another year, but it is contingent upon the fact that someone, hopefully the Transportation Committee, look at the numbers, digest the numbers, and come back and say, hey, guys, we can do this in another manner, for less money, more efficiently, and serve more of the town, or this is the best we can get for the money.
Before
So
I go to,
that's my point.
before I go to Mark, the price is the flat price. The only thing about the changing of the stops was to change the duration of the loop.
I
Because we
understand.
thought it was too long.
I understand.
So whether we add stops or move stops, the cost is gonna remain.
Trying to
If we
keep- trying to
compress
keep
it
the
even
route 1
more.
hour.
That's exactly right, so we tried it the.
Hours of service.
Yeah, yeah,
1 hour.
yeah.
So many runs within that
Right,
time.
so the shorter it is, the more you can make. But if there's nobody at a stop at 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, and 3, why do we stop there?
Well, that's something that the MWRT keeps track of, MWRTA keeps track of.
Who makes that call, Scott? Whether to eliminate,
I mean, if we watch it, if we see something that we got a question, we question it. But as far as changing the route and eliminating stops and adding stops, they have more say in that than we do. We can ask them and they will check it and see if they can do it.
but they get the final say?
Yeah, I don't know if it's final or not, I think the selectmen have the final
Yeah.
say, to be honest. with you.
Selectmen do.
Yeah.
Well,
But
again,
we've
I
had a couple
support the
changes
program. I
between
mean,
the
there is a need.
library and
There's
then,
no question. You gotta
It's-
be living on
it's
another
changing
planet
every month.
not to
it's
realize that
changing.
there's not a need out there. But is this the best bang for the buck? I'm not so sure.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Before this, the MWRTA, we were talking about this last year, I met with another type of transportation company, local. And they ran the numbers and they said they couldn't do it for the route that was there and the numbers that we had. That doesn't mean that they couldn't replace this system with the system that just takes the kids from one place to another on a continual basis. So my recommendation, and I agree with Mr. Carrera and everybody else, I'll support it for 1 more year as well. I do want to see a full year, but I recommend that the Transportation Committee investigate alternatives over the next year, just in case this doesn't work out and we come up with a better alternative, like a different transportation company that just runs between 3 places. The school has buses. We own 3 or 4 buses that can be utilized after hours or during the day to run kids back and forth, whether they're overage or not. I'm sure we can work out a program to utilize those buses and pay a driver. I mean, that's all we're talking about in gas, okay? So there are alternatives to handle that group of the population, I believe. The real question is, can we get the ridership to where it's viable for the whole community? And I think another year will tell us that.
Anybody else? Okay.
Are we sure about the number?
125,000. Zach, is that correct? The bus?
Question is, did it come off of the cherry sheet already?
Off the cherry sheet. The way it's presented now, it was coming off the cherry sheet.
Yeah, it definitely will be an assessment of the cherry sheet. Everything is a year lag. So this particular year, it was 250,000, which is an estimate until the final numbers come in. But there should be first year cherry sheet assessment, 50,000.
That's for this year, because it is a year behind. That's what the other thing that he's saying.
what's
We're
next-
talking
so
about
what's
that
next
next year.
Year two, looks like we still have state assistance, but no Chinook, so it'll be 125.
125.
Okay,
You
thank
want
you.
a motion, Chris?
That's different than
Chris, I
what
would
was,
like to support
that's
on the
different than Mr.
Motion by Al,
Bly.
second by Aldo. All those in favor?
Additional 75.
All those in favor of keeping the bus service on for another year, with the stipulation that the Transportation Committee does start to put together alternatives to see if there's a better
Mr.
method.
Chairman, could we clarify that 1 year from 1 July through June 30 of 18?
Yeah, for one fiscal
Okay,
year.
but not a year.
Mr. Chairman, real
Can't
quick,
stipulate.
to Mr. Checky's point, we have to address it at the budget cycle next year.
Right.
So you're committing it for the fiscal year, but you're gonna make a decision prior to that to continue it beyond that.
Well, we'll have a year and a half's worth of
A
data.
year and a half's worth of data.
But, Michael, if I may, more importantly, if today, not that we have the final vote, but if we had the final vote and we said nay, it would still continue till July 1st to give people a chance to adjust their lives.
Well,
So
we-
what we're talking about is July 1 through
Paid for.
June 30
End of fiscal year.
next year.
Before the end of
So,
the fiscal
Mr.
year.
Chairman, what we did not get out of your conditional vote here was whether or not the advisory committee would agree to look at alternatives.
I don't think they have a choice, Mr. Schiavi.
Yeah, but
They
obviously,
might.
that has to come from the selectmen. If they want us to
Yes,
do that, we will
I
do that.
understand
We can
that, but I
discuss that
think,
with
I
them.
can't imagine that they, would turn
No,
down
I
looking
don't
at
see why not.
alternatives. I
No,
mean,
No, and I have no problem doing it, it's fine.
Used to be a selectman in this room.
They're outside the door.
One other,
Oh,
I'm sorry, I
no,
got all these points all of a sudden I just came up with. So, should the MWRTA themselves come in and talk to us about their plans tomorrow? Oh, so you're from the MWRTA? Oh, no, okay. So do we have somebody from the MW to come in and tell us if they are planning to aggressively market this? To tell people that live at the Shadowbrook that they can get to Target, if they need to, or
They have
something like
money in their
that?
budget for advertising.
we
They
certainly
ought to
can
do it.
have them in, but, I mean, to Aldo's point, it's more their benefit to have more riders
Well,
than it is for
it's
us.
the
keep
benefit of
the- they
the
keep the
citizens of the
fair.
town of Milford.
Yeah,
We
no,
don't
I
keep the
agree.
fair.
So what we'll do is we'll have them in at our meeting.
Because right now, the average is 50 riders a day. I mean, that's what it's looking at, 50 riders a day for the entire day, for every day. You had some
13
lows and highs.
13 routes,
Right. At 50
Do the math.
riders a
Three-
day, it seems
four people a
not
bus per route.
quite sustainable as a plan. So we need to have something happen in order to keep this going. But I agree, so we know what the sunk cost is here for the next year.
Yeah.
And I support it as well.
Can I just add one comment? Last month was another high mark for ridership, so clearly this isn't matured yet, so,
But I guess I don't understand, what is the highest mark of a month for bus ridership? You would think it's the working months. Is it the summer months? I don't
Well,
know.
we haven't been around that cycle at all.
exactly, we gotta run through the whole cycle, but I just wanna to drive the point that last month was our highest month. I mean, clearly this is not yet plateaued or anything like that.
Let's hope it hasn't.
One more comment, if I may.
Because everyone knew when I said, does anyone else have anything else to say?
I'll
It
close
was-
with this comment. I clearly remember when the selectmen approached this body last year, we were told this was gonna be a trial period, which we all agreed with, and we asked, what are the pros and cons? What are the successes? What are the benchmarks? What are the parameters? We never received them. So I guess we really ought to suggest that
Yeah.
from the selectmen as well. What are the parameters here? What's the go, no-go point?
All right.
There's no business.
I got a motion and a second. All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, guys. Thank you guys very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
All right, we have a lot to do with budgeting and articles on the warrant that we're still working out. What I wanted to do this meeting, and I didn't want to go too long, is I wanted to get through some of the budgets that have met the recommendation of the 2% that we made, and I want to go through the articles that we consider housekeeping or reoccurring and get those out of the way, so that at our next meeting or meetings, if we need to, we can hammer out all the other stuff that's still standing, but if we can get all this housekeeping stuff out of the way. So with that being said, I want to move over to the departmental budgets. Everybody's been receiving the emails for the past couple of weeks, as well as the budgets are up on the drive. There is an Excel spreadsheet up on it that says FY18 budgets. and there's 3 sheets on there. The full budget is on the first sheet. The second sheet are the budgets that have fallen within the 2% recommendation that we made. And the third sheet on the spreadsheet are the departments that have not met the 2% increase for one reason or another. And I want to get all those departments in here to talk to them about that at our next meeting. I think a lot of it has to do with the personnel board and salary constraints that could not be made. So I think a lot of them are going to be easy. But there are still several departments that we're looking for employees and overall budget problems that they're not meeting. So that we're really going to have to delve into. But if everyone can look at the second sheet on there, the budgets within the recommended, you'll see that there's most of the budgets, not most of the budgets, about
Second one, budgets within
the
recommended.
FY 18 budget spreadsheet, and then the second sheet on there, it says budgets within recommendation. You don't know, and you'll see all the budgets
Yep.
for the departments.
Yes, it is.
That's a summary.
And then the second sheet.
FY 18.
Oh, okay. This one's not right.
Submitted budget.
No, not in submitted budget, you have FY 18 budgets.
right there, that's great.
You open that. No, there's a spreadsheet right on there, it says FY 18 budget.
In the FY,
Let it load.
there's an FY 18 budgets Excel back.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let
got
it
it.
load,
That?
and then you'll see tabs, and see the
Okay.
second tab is the.
Does everyone have that?
Got it, yeah.
Thank you.
Mike.
So the second sheet on there, as I was referring to, the first sheet is the entire budget. The second sheet is the departments that have met our recommendation of 2%. So, right now, I just wanted to go over the ones that have come in within the 2%, see if anyone had any questions on that, any issue. I wouldn't think you would, because it met our recommendations. So I'd like to have a motion to accept these budgets. And then the budgets on the next spreadsheet that are over the recommendation are the ones we'll be addressing in our next meeting, because we have a lot to hammer out with some of those departments, so.
Just going to, are we going to move for favorable action on those?
I would on.
No, we're not
to accept
approving,
those. That's
we're-
correct, yeah, on those.
We're accepting those.
Accepting.
I'll second Mike's motion.
If we could just have a couple, just a moment to just look at them.
Yep. Yep. These particular budgets. And I have those all printed out for you here. Zachary?
Were those based on the Article 4 I sent you yesterday?
Yes.
Okay, there's been a few minor changes in the proper direction.
So they're down?
Yes.
Okay.
So, they may fall within what you're looking at now, but it is definitely down. We worked with Mr. Hyatt today.
Trending
Because I
down.
did want to go to Jerry after this for general government.
I think you might want to do this first before you do this.
The general government one?
Yeah.
Might not be a bad idea.
Okay.
Because we've kind of reorganized things a little bit to consolidate it and get it all on the same page.
So, okay.
Oh,
All right.
okay. We have a motion and a second, so.
Motion and second for what?
All right, I want to hold off on then on any voting on that, because I want to hear from Jerry then.
I'll withdraw my second.
Thank
If
you.
Michael withdraw his motion. Withdraw the second, so you're clean, Mr.
All right.
Chairman.
Thank you. What's changed since yesterday, Jerry?
We've cut some more expenses out of it.
Attaboy.
Cut this budget down quite a bit. Here's a couple paper copies you can pass around.
It is, this is on the drive as well, I noticed.
General government,
Yes.
Yep.
But it's not where you directed us. It's over here under,
Yeah, it is, it's right next to it. It says general government.
Go ahead and work together on that.
Work together.
All right, Jerry.
did you find it? The one,
It's right next to it's the spreadsheet, it's the file right next to the budget, the one we were just looking at. It says general government.
148.
Yep.
it's a new one that Zach just put up.
Yep.
Go to your bottom line.
I don't see it.
Yeah, where's the?
Says it was updated today at 4:27.
869.
Says general government
I'm
FY.
gonna run off the paper copy.
Okay. You do have to, no, 427, okay.
Okay, you guys can follow on the paper copy. There's lots of hard work and lots of good news in the general government environment. I can't ever remember submitting a general government budget, and it's 5 pages. I got 1 of 5 in front of me. okay?
5 million.
In spite of the
61.
personnel study impact that was significant in the general government, we were still able to bring the entire general government, and Zach has reorganized it, so we can go from this point forward with the general government, as Zach has, we're following the generally accepted accounting principles called GAAP for municipalities, and we've grouped it all together under general government. You get all said and done, you're seeing a general government budget that is down negative 0.7% in total.
Nice.
A lot of credit goes to Zach, a lot of credit goes to Mr. Valani, a lot of cooperation out of the Assessor's Department, a lot of cooperation out of the Collector's Department, to get some of these things weeded out. We were able to reduce the budgets in electrical, fuel oil, and gas consumption for the town in a lot of places. I do have to note one notable. We took a very favorable trend by eliminating the capital improvement committee. We didn't have to budget that number this year. I had to do that, I'm sorry. That's the note.
By the way, Mr. Chairman, you should recommend that that comes out of the bylaws too. It's still in the bylaws.
Okay. One thing I do note, even with the minus 0.7%, Mr. Valani, our town administrator, had requested an increase in the repairs and maintenance grounds budget significantly of $54,000. I did not realize that $108,000 of that budget is contract, maintenance contract, $9,000 a month, and I think there's a possibility it could go up. So originally, we had only budgeted 164, and 108 of it was already committed in one maintenance contract. So it didn't leave him a whole lot of room. So we pushed that budget up to $218,000.
What's that for, Jerry?
Excuse me?
What's that for?
Repair, maintenance, buildings and grounds?
So the addition was with respect to taking on another building?
No, in fact, providing him some flexibility to make repairs.
We'll have another, I mean, the youth center now will be,
What about middle school east?
and middle school east, correct?
So is that reflected in your budget?
But this basically allows us to actually do some repairs outside of maintenance contracts and to avoid coming forward with a transfer every single year since
What-
I've been here.
What,
Yeah,
I guess what I'm asking, Jerry, is that we're picking up a building across the street, and it's gonna have to be maintained. Did we allow for that in your budget?
Did you? No, we did not, we did
We had an
not.
article on town meeting.
I understand the article on town meeting, but we've gotta get a number together.
Again, I agree.
There's other reasons for that.
Yeah, I agree. We're on the same page.
Okay.
This certainly would
Promise
help
you.
too.
We need to know what that is soon.
Yeah, well, I have more than one question to ask about this, to be honest with you, because there's some things in here that I had, that I wanted to talk about. I want to know why, you know, I understand when you take general government as a whole, then it goes down 0.7%. But there are some departments in here that are not, and I want to know why.
Right.
So that's why I didn't want to take general government as a whole.
Go ahead, what department you want to know about?
Well, that's what I mean, like town clerk, personal services went up 6.4%. Why?
Because of the lane changes and the personnel study impact.
Personnel study.
I think that's gonna be an answer for a lot of them, Jerry, and I totally agree, and that's what I said earlier, but these are the kind of things, that's why I didn't wanna address
Chris, now
these
that
one at
you've
a
opened that
time.
box, on our report, Paul, do we have the right numbers? Because on the compensation schedule for hourly rated positions, what was published last year in 16 and what's in 17, almost every one of those, the smallest pay raise was 8.5%, and it went all the way up to 12%. You know, and I don't see anything here, well, there's two of them that are under 9%, but it's 9, 10, 11, 12.
We all said that.
So I think I addressed that in an email I sent back to you when I CC'd Chris on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but would you explain it so?
The 16 numbers, there was no new salary program in FY 16. That wasn't adopted until FY 17. And FY 17, and will now, as we're approaching FY 18, it will be the same exact table. There's no change to the table. Anybody at the top step is getting a 1%. No one else is getting anything. So the table is not changing.
No, I'm just concerned about the report we're putting together for town meeting.
Yeah.
The 16 should be 17 and the 17.
It's except for
16 is
step 4.
irrelevant. I don't know, That was never
Did the
approved.
numbers go up? The 8, 10, 12% for all the employees?
No, 17 and 18 is exactly the same, it's 0, except for anybody who has a step increase, who's already at the top step gets 1%.
No, Paul, if you're
Okay, then
at step
you've got
3,
me
you go to
totally
step 4.
confused.
Yeah.
Yeah, how
Right,
could
step 3 is
18
still
be
step
zero?
3 at the same exact number.
No, but what he's saying is from step 3 to step 4 is like 12%.
That's not what else.
No, what I'm saying is last year, the numbers that were in the town meeting
That
warrant.
was passed over previously, so that 16 numbers, those were never.
So
that never went-
employees did not get any raises? The personnel shift-a-roo did not increase 8, 10, 12%?
Sure did.
Yes, it did.
Sure did.
Okay, then I'm confused, because I'm hearing it did, and you're saying it didn't, so then Jerry's numbers should be going way down, because there's no increase in salaries.
Paul,
Just
You
listen.
got me confused now.
Yeah.
because you're looking at the wrong numbers.
I mean,
Just
just,
listen to what I'm saying.
Listen to what Paul's saying, because the numbers are,
FY 16 numbers do not exist anywhere. They were never voted at town
it's
meeting.
not factional
That was
numbers.
passed over.
Issue.
So people got whatever the COLA was for FY 16. It may have been 2%, I don't know off the
Okay.
top.
That's why those numbers should never be
So
referenced.
those numbers don't belong anywhere.
Correct.
The current fiscal year is the 17-1. That's the table that was approved by the Personnel Board. They issued something that had
go
that.
down.
The
Personal
FY
service.
18 is the same exact schedule.
Personal
There is
service,
no
town
percent
clerk,
increase
6.6.
from FY 17 to FY 18. People in the schedule may in fact have a step increase. As they may go from one step to another, as they would in any
Normal.
program. If they're at the top step already, there's a 1% on top of that. So
When did the big hit come?
This year.
Last year.
It's already.
Right now, the salaries went up the 8, 9, 10%.
not necessarily.
not necessarily,
That-
that's
But that's when,
an
but
exaggeration.
to answer his question, yes, that's when it happened.
The hit.
Whether the numbers, let's not argue what the numbers are, the effect was felt.
Then
But
I
this
would
fiscal
ask
year.
Oh,
Zach,
Mr. Chairman,
Paul,
it's
could
felt
you
this year
take
as well,
that
this
chart?
next fiscal year as well.
It'll be felt forever.
Right,
But
exactly.
when he's asking, when did the change occur?
This
This
FY
So could you
17.
take that chart and give me the right numbers for 17, 18, or whatever it is?
It's the same.
You have
chart,
the right
it's
number.
same.
The 17 numbers are
There
the
was
correct
no
numbers.
COLA issued, it's the same chart.
So for next year, what was $17.36, level 1, step 1?
Is the same.
Same,
It doesn't change,
It's
not
the same.
1%, not COLA, nothing.
with the exception if you were on
Maxed
top
out.
step, maxed out, they issued a 1% COLA if you were at top step, which affected this year 5 people.
And that's what they promised us, that they wouldn't add.
So this year was when we got
COLAs
hit.
every year.
Okay. Paul, I did not understand,
Yep.
that's why I want to make sure it's clear before we issue it to town
I sent
meeting.
that to you in an email,
You
so
did,
you
and we were,
commits upon
we
You
were-
did, but I'm old and it didn't sink in.
I'll talk to him, because we were both CC'd on this.
60.
Thank you.
Okay.
Do you guys want to do this right now? I mean, because like I said, like the town treasurer, like your general expense, you're up 2.3. What did, general expenses are up 6. I mean, that's why I didn't,
That's a mistake on that
It's the
report.
personnel services line item.
you know,
Not a
that's,
mistake?
I did
No,
not.
that's general
Mr.
expenses
Chairman,
on this one.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry. I have to apologize. I did not, I sat with Chris. I did not bring all the data with me because I've been dated out, okay? Chris has it. He can come up and talk about it. I went over with him and it,
I'm sure all of it is, but that's why I don't want to accept general government as a whole, because I have some questions on it. I think that the end result, I think, is great. I love it, down 0.7%, but I had questions in that, and that's why I specifically separate them in that spreadsheet. And I know that they're easily answered, and I'm sure that they're having to do with the personnel. But I want answers, so I'm sure they're easy ones, but that's why I would prefer not to accept general government as a whole. I think I would like to go back, if someone would go back and make the original motion, to accept the budgets that we had on that spreadsheet that fell within our 2% recommendations.
You want to pull that back?
I would like someone to make
So
that
Jerry,
motion.
you thought this was going to be easy, so.
No, I think, Jerry, I think it was great.
I know what
you
the
brought-
answers are, I'm not gonna spend 2 hours here driving through this.
That's what I
because
didn't
We've
want.
already spent 2 days at
When
least,
do we ask questions on it, now or at a future meeting?
At a future meeting.
you can ask all the questions you want.
'Cause I want that,
All the- all-
because we're gonna have some people in here, and I think someone can just blow through, and, you know, whether we have Zach up here, blow through the questions and just bullet them, and then we have, you know, highways, schools, parks, and that's what our next meeting's gonna be about, and then any other articles that we have, so.
Mr. Chairman, I move, other than for general government, that we approve the standard 2%ers.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
I'll
That's
beat you
3
to it.
seconds.
No, you can let Mark.
All right, Mark.
I don't care. I didn't hear anybody else.
Yeah, so
I'll wait, I'll turn them up.
I have a motion and a second to accept the proposed budgets here that met our 2% recommendation.
Without the, except for
Except for
the,
general government.
They weren't included in that list.
okay.
We're talking about the original
About
list.
all the budgets that are on that second tab,
That
right?
second tab.
All right.
Thank you, Mike.
Just for a point of clarification, because some of them are 2.2.
Yeah,
Not on the second tab,
On the second tab, yes.
Not overall.
Library's at 2.2.
not overall.
Yeah, the library's 2.2.
So I just wanted to make
Is
sure,
that-
was it 2.0 or is it 2.5?
Wait a minute, no, library is the only one?
That's where they put those fences.
I think the library might be the only one.
All right. With the exception of the library.
Yeah, that's what I said, with the
Yep.
exception of library.
The exception of the library.
And that's what I seconded,
Hope you get it done before town meeting.
What else do we wanna get?
with the exception of the library.
So what is the motion that I made, Mr. Chairman?
Why don't you check with your old shoes, Aldo?
You're as old as Al.
To accept the budgets.
Hey.
All right, come on, we still got a bunch of other stuff to do. To accept the budgets on that second spreadsheet with the exception of the library that was inadvertently placed on there.
The exception of the library?
Yes.
I thought it was general government.
And Mark is gonna second that?
Yes, I did.
We'll question them, and there are other 2.2s, but that's
Oh,
why it's
there
gonna be
are?
an easy question.
Okay.
I don't wanna do. All right,
I'd let it go.
I'd say with the inclusion of the library.
no,
second that.
it's already been seconded. All those in favor? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, can I make a motion to accept the library budget as well?
Second,
You wanna go through all the other 2.2s then?
Yes.
Not tonight.
Knock them off.
You wanna do it? They're not here to answer the questions, unless Zach wants to take them.
Maybe the subcommittee chairman can answer the
Yep.
question.
That's what the subcommittee's for.
Do you,
I guess a
guys,
point
I
two.
don't have any issue with that. If people wanna sit here and go through and do this.
we're supposed
I
to
tried
do.
to make it simple tonight. Jerry, I know what we're supposed to do, Jerry, thank you. But I was doing it the next meeting.
I think Michael,
I think you're right, Mr. Chairman. Move it to the next meeting.
That's what I wanna do. So,
We have a motion and a second.
Mr. Chairman.
thank you very much. So can you withdraw your motion, please? I don't wanna do the library.
okay, I'll withdraw the motion.
Thank you.
Wait, let me get the executive order pen. Hold on.
All right, gentlemen, we're done with those. Next thing I have on here is the articles. I put those on the drive as well, the articles that are considered reoccurring articles. It's Articles 1 through 13, with obviously the exception of 4, which is the entire budget. You'll find that on the Google Drive, under Town Meeting Warrant.
There you
And
are.
then the reoccurring articles.
You don't have the full warrant on here, Mr. Chairman.
So what, the whole warrant is on there as well, but I also have a separate document here, just the 12 reoccurring articles. I'd like to get a favorable recommendation on them. Once again, I'm trying to get rid of all this housekeeping stuff
So moved,
from
Mr.
this
Chairman.
meeting, so that next meeting we can.
Which one's Chris?
Hard hit.
Everybody know what they are?
Favorable.
1 through 13, with the exception of 4, which is the total
Let's get a
budget.
favorable.
Current is spelled incorrect, Mr. Chairman.
Can't.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, I don't think you can do them all at once. You need to do each individual.
You got the one,
I know, but I just want, so.
I've tried that, it doesn't work.
So we'll go through them. Article 1, can I get a motion for a favorable recommendation?
Second.
All those in favor? Unanimous. Article 2, Personnel Board.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor? Unanimous.
You wanna do a duo?
Article 3,
Like it.
Move.
Oh, timeout.
Article 3.
can look on with me.
Nobody else has said anything.
Hold on. Article 2.
Article 3 is Board of Selectmen.
No, I know. I'll second that.
All those in favor? Unanimous?
Can I just have a discussion on Article 2, Mr. Chairman?
Yep.
If you go to the hourly rate on Article 2, you notice some of the increases are, they're all 1% except for one, it's 23%.
That's to bring someone up to minimum wage.
Do we vote that at the United States government level, that we're voting minimum wage? No, that's fine. I just wanted, listen, I just wanted to show up. Okay?
Highlighted.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So Article 3 we voted on, correct?
Yeah.
Article 4 we cannot do, obviously that's the
We're gonna
budget.
have to table Article 4.
Article 5, Treasurer. Motion. That allows the treasurer to borrow money. Bobby, Aldo, all those in favor? Unanimous.
That's the 1%.
Article 6, Selectmen.
Moved.
Second.
Thank you. Article 7, Selectmen. Uses fines to pay for things.
Sure, I'll move for that one.
Mike,
Second.
Aldo, thank you. All those in favor? Unanimous. Article 8, Treasurer.
I'll move, Mr. Chairman.
Is that still, excuse me, is that still viable? The compensating balances?
Article 7,
Yes,
Okay.
I mean,
second one before the.
Chris, I just, years ago, it was like, well, we've had it since Paul Revere wrote it. We've never used it. I just wanted to know from you, is that still something you want?
Who gave?
Just in case.
sure, just in case.
Okay, sorry.
All right. So Article 8, I need a motion.
Motion.
Motion, Al. Second, Jeff. All those in favor? Unanimous. Article 9, Selectmen. It's like insurance. If they get insurance when the
Well,
car
yeah.
gets killed, you can,
Mo-
thanks. Moved by Al, second by Mike. All those in favor? Unanimous. Article 10, Board of Selectmen.
Move.
Is that a second, Mike?
I'll take the second, he'll do the
All right.
move.
All those in favor?
I had some, I just want to, question, this is for up to 5 years. Except for the real estate, which could be up to 10.
That's correct.
The reason I asked is because there's been some discussion about Purchase Street School, and I just wanted to, it's
Yep.
up to 10 years regarding real estate. That includes
All other
leases?
contracts, yep.
Okay, thank you.
So all those in favor on Article 10? Thank you. Article 11 is the Town Treasurer.
Move, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Landon, view of the motion. Motion and second. All those in favor? Unanimous. Article 12, School Committee.
Vending machines.
I would call it
Potato
potato
chip-
chip money. Thank
potato
you.
chip money.
Beat you to it. So I'm assuming Al's gonna make a motion for potato chip
Yep.
money.
I'll second.
Mike second. All those in favor? Unanimous. Article 13, it's the setting up of revolving accounts.
We didn't have to do that this year, Zach. So we didn't have to do that this year.
13.
It has to be adopted this year, then moving forward, you don't.
Okay. Move, Mr. Chairman.
Move. Second by Jeff. All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, guys. Like I said, we have a lot of important things to talk about at our next meeting. I don't want to be wasting our time with stuff like this. All right, next thing, subcommittee reports.
I've already given you a report on Blackstone Valley last meeting, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, you did.
They came in under by 5.6%.
Yep.
Due to lack of students.
23, right?
23, correct. No, 12.
Oh, it was 23 plus last
Yeah,
year.
it was 23
Sorry.
plus 12. 12 down. And as I said last meeting, we did have a discussion with the school department about getting together and advocating for BVT because they're not part of the choice out numbers, contrary to popular belief. We've had a couple of meetings with the school department. They submitted a budget of 4.91%. I had a meeting this morning with the superintendent, went over some numbers again. We will have another meeting I don't know, probably before town meeting or not. If we don't have another meeting, I'll submit a budget, the finance committee budget, and the school committee can pull it out on town meeting floor and we can discuss it there. But I'd like to come to an agreement before we get to that point.
I would really like that.
So would I. So we're about $500,000 apart.
Any other subcommittees? Alberto?
Capital's going along. We talked to fire. It's right on schedule except for the phones. Some things come up from a safety point of view. There's a whole movement about shower within the hour after a fire because the foreign material can cause harm to the firefighters. So they each have 2 sets of firefighting gear, and they have to be washed immediately. If they're being washed and they're called out again, then they'll wash the second one, but it takes 2 days to hang dry, so we could have firefighters down because they don't have their suits. The chief has asked for a dryer, which would allow, the suits to be extracted, dried, whatever you want to call it. It's about $9,000. That got added on for the fall. Because of that, their phone system that was on is being pushed back. We haven't seen the exact mark. We haven't seen the numbers. Chief estimated 9. He'll bring forward a package, our standard package, so that we can all review it. We went through with Scotty, no major changes for the next 2 or 3 years. We do have to look, the odd question is how much of the permit's gonna cost us, and nobody knows. But other than that, everything's right where it was. I'll put out a new revision of the capital plan within the next 2 days.
Mr. Chairman?
Yep.
If I may. Al, the need to have that piece of equipment in there, now, are we talking about buying another set of turnout gear for everyone?
No, instead of another set of turnout gear for everyone.
You're
The
gonna have-
dryer would let you,
They already have 2.
they already have 2, that's good enough with the dryer.
But I thought, having sat with the subcommittee, that the phone system was a big need down there, because the system they have now, as I recall, is less than satisfactory.
Now, what the chief said, if I may answer, is that he can live for another year by buying certain phones and parts, which could cost $1,000 or so. We estimated that a phone system, if we're lucky, we get 10 years out of, so $35,000, that's $3,500 a year. We thought it was a good deal if he can spend $1,000 and push it out at least a year. And we asked him if there's any risk to safety, efficiency, and he said no.
No, it's just an office phone.
Yeah.
Pretty much, right, yeah.
The dispatchers take care of the emergency stuff.
Thank you, Al.
Mr. Chairman, with respect to the turnout gear and the wash and everything, I'm not sure that people realize what that means. One of our good friends has esophageal cancer because in fact, there's 2 firefighters right now that have it.
3.
Before, when they go to a fire, the residue sits on their turnout gear, and they keep breathing it in over and over and over again. And so washing it off and the turnout gear and drying them and get them ready will prevent a lot of illness in the future, and it's certainly worth whatever it takes to keep the firefighters healthy, in my opinion.
No question.
Safety, it's human.
Well, but they've never done it before. It's just like a new thing over the last couple of years.
No, and the chief brought it out, he said when he first came up, he sees movies of, firefighters sitting there in the middle of a fire, no gear, no nothing. We've come a long way. This is just another evolutionary step towards adding safety to our firefighters.
You recall back in the day when Chief Taddy used to come in and ask for breathing gear every year, and we said, look, you gotta do it every year, just put it in the budget.
Yeah. We good for capital?
That's it.
Any other subcommittee reports? All right. Future agenda items. Obviously, we have to get this budget done, both with the schools, highway, parks, and then those small little negligible ones, like I said, that I think we're gonna blow through pretty quick because of the pay raises. I have a question for Mr. Abendanza. Our next meeting gives us 11 days to town meeting. Are we gonna be able to do that, or do we have to have a special meeting to get our report out?
No, we have to have it to Amy 2 weeks ahead of time.
I know.
Confirmation with Amy, because
What
I know
day-
the answer is no, but I was wanted to, it's 2 weeks, right?
We're hoping.
no, what's the day?
The 22nd, right?
No.
22nd.
What's the day we have, Paul, the day that,
Take it to 8th, she's sending them the 8th.
8th, that's,
Right, so we need to meet before the 8th. Our usual meeting date in May is May 10th, so that's why we just miss it.
Mr. Chairman, we can have a meeting before, and then whatever was left, deal with that on May 10th and just put something on the chair.
Yeah,
And we've done that before.
yeah. I would like to get most of that done before, though, so I was hoping for the first week in May.
About 2 weeks from tonight.
May 3rd.
April 26th, Mr. Chairman.
why don't we do it Monday, May 1st? That way, if we need anything during the week, we can pull it
Why
in.
don't we do it in 2 weeks, Mr. Chairman?
Why don't you do it
I would
why don't you do
recommend
it
2
next week
weeks.
and get it
In
done?
April.
That's actually, that's even a
Set the
better idea.
meeting and we shall
Do it the
come.
19th and be done with this. You're,
The only thing I'm worried about is the school, I wanted the schools to get a little bit more time, that's one of the big ones.
do the school the last day.
Okay.
Do everything but.
Because that was, the big thing is I was holding out for was the schools,
19th?
because I want that done. Yeah, I can do the,
Vacation week, everybody gonna,
so Wednesday, the 19th, is that, are people around?
I am.
Doesn't matter, they're gonna have to be, because we're in the budget cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a vacation week, Jerry. Maybe some people planned vacations.
Either way, I'm hoping subcommittee chairs can take, once again, all of this except for Parks and Highway, I think is just gonna be a head nod. I think it's gonna be, but, can everyone make the,
That's the question. Can everybody make the 19th?
19th?
We can't make that 19th.
We can take minutes.
I'll take
Can we do the 26th
How
instead?
about
the 26th?
26th.
I had the 26th.
I'm not gonna be here the 26th, so,
Okay.
I can tell you that right
It
now.
sounds like most people are 26 or
Tried to
better.
forewarn you,
Alright.
but you're here.
So let's do it the
with
26th. So April 26th, why don't we do it then, and then we're gonna have to, we're gonna have to have a cleanup meeting in
So
May.
19th is the day?
Still with us.
26, he said.
The 26th, April 26th.
25th and
All right,
10th.
so we're gonna set up a meeting then for April
Now I got a
26th.
meeting in-
And if we have to have a cleanup meeting in May, we'll have a cleanup meeting in May.
Okay.
Perfect. 26th.
That works, Mr. Chairman.
April 26th.
That's good.
Okay,
We
great.
have articles to do too, I mean.
Yeah, and there's not much on the articles, though. A lot of it's planning board kind of stuff. They really, which I didn't,
Refer to.
yeah, exactly. So I think we're gonna blow through that stuff pretty quick. Like I said, I think highway, parks, and schools, I think are the only real thing that is gonna take up time. All right, so that being said, so we'll set up a meeting for April 26th. I'll send everyone the details, make sure this room's available. All right, the last thing on the agenda, we're gonna go to executive session. We have an executive session to talk about the proposed purchase of the Milford Water Company.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yay.
Yes.
We're gonna come out for adjournment, Mr.
We
Chairman?
are just gonna come out for adjournment. The public meeting is over. Thanks and have a great night.